Hello everyone, my name is Chow Guardian, and well, this is Super Mario Kart. Alright. If anyone's been keeping track or just looked up anything recently, Mario Kart 8 had released Wave 2 recently, I believe, for its DLC tracks about a week ago. Oh, and I was seeing a couple things where people were talking about Mario Kart, and I remembered, oh yeah, they actually added this game to Super Nintendo Wi-Fi services, so I decided, well, I guess it'd be a good time to play it. Playing, maybe I would have talked about this game in the future, but I have no idea, to be honest. So I was like, might as well just do this now so I can just get it out the way, so I don't have to do it later, because, I mean, what is there really more for me to say, or should I explain? It's Mario Kart. On the NES, where it first began, and eight racers, some items, trying to get first place, some interesting mechanics like having lives and getting points to try and get extra lives, basic stuff. That really, I think has already kind of been said to death at this point. If you don't know what Mario Kart is, there are tons of other games that pretty much will fill you in, so this one really isn't that big a deal, so I mean, it's not like there's really anything super special about this one. One aside from the fact that it was the first. I mean, granted, I do like the 2D sprites in this game. I'll give it that. I do like the 2D in this game. And it has surprisingly a lot of charm to it. And whenever I look at this game in other Mario Kart games, means now I'm looking at it, it feels so different compared to the others. In a good way. It really does kind of stand out. Now, I mean, granted, this is also the game that came literally after Super Mario World, so that's not really a surprise, and a lot of these graphics are pretty much based on Mario World, so probably not much of a surprise. Or that it kind of has its own unique identity that's very similar to Mario World, and a lot of the tracks are based on Mario World locations. Seems like that, well, this is straight up just donut plains. Seems like straight up. So. Oh, they straight up just take a lot of inspiration from those locations in Mario World. So if you played that game, yeah, you already kind of know. No, you kind of know what these are based on. Even though, I think that area was more mountainous than Yoshi's Island, I guess. Well, I mean, I guess it has been a while since I played Mario World, so I guess I wouldn't know. And I mean, I know this game isn't really that crazy to really get excited about, and I mean, quite frankly, even though after I played it's fun in a vacuum. This is definitely more of an arcade type experience where I think you'll have fun with this. You'd have fun with this if you treated it like an arcade game, and trying to go as long as you can, on one roll, in one sitting. But when it comes to trying to do it outside of that and trying to do it for longer sessions, and especially on harder difficulties, it's not as fun, I'll be honest. It's more annoying if anything, playing on harder difficulties. But you'll see those when they come. There's not really any point in me saying it until we actually get there. And there isn't really much I can really talk about aside from just playing the Grand Prix, because there really isn't much outside of multiplayer. There's time trials, but I don't really care about those. It's just playing through those same tracks again, except trying to clear them as fast as you can. There's no items to get in your way. I don't know if you get a mushroom. I'm not sure if that's a thing that was exclusive to Mario Kart 64's version, or it was mushrooms. You did get a mushroom, a single-use mushroom in this game. I have no idea, but I don't plan to check it out. No, probably not. It is very unlikely I'm ever gonna check that out. Now, because I don't care how fast I clear these times. I'm not interested. I'd mostly just play the Grand Prix anyways. And then there's multiplayer stuff where you can play this game with a friend, and a friend, singular, or not plural, singular friend, and in 2-player mode, and there's a battle mode as well. But I don't want to say never, because I mean, you never know what could happen. But I'm probably not going to handle the battle mode. So, probably not. Not because it's pretty much a battle mode what you'd expect. Balloons hit your opponent a number of times. Whoever survives wins. And just about. Now, it's battle mode. It's pretty much balloon battle as you know it. Excuse me. Jeez, I really gotta stop eating something before I do these things. I really gotta stop. But I was getting really hungry when trying to set up. Really hungry. Because I don't usually get hungry. I guess... Oh, well, nice. Oh, Nagato takes forever in this one. Well, I will say it's a very unique experience going back to this game. But man, does it make me appreciate a lot of the stuff in the older game, well, in the newer games, and that they clearly learned from this. Oh, I forgot to jump. Oops. Oh, well, I still win. Booyah. Oh, I didn't use the feather, dang it. Oh, well, I mean, I still got first, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, these races are gonna fly by pretty quickly, and unfortunately, I normally would just skip this, but this game is so short that really, I just decided I might as well just do it anyways. Wait, and I might do all three. Who honestly knows? I might just do all 3 Grand Prix. Well, 3 cups, because there's only 3 cups in 50cc. There's 4 in 100 and 150cc, but there's for some reason only 3 in this one. Kind of odd. And get used to seeing a lot of these similar themes whenever we go through these tracks. Get used to this. You're gonna always see a Bowser's Castle, and you're always gonna see a Donut Plains. And get used to it. Even though it is based on Mario World, heavily based on Mario World, I'm kind of surprised it really doesn't take a lot of inspiration from it. I mean, the graphics, obviously, and of course some of the stages, but that's about it. And even then, it's only really 2 areas. Well, 2 areas, because this doesn't really look like Bowser's Castle from Mario World, because Bowser, well, was it Bowser? I think Bowser Land? I don't remember what it was called. Oh wait, the Valley of Bowser, that's what it was called, I remember. It did not look like this. This looks like Mario 3's like Dark Land, which is where you fought Bowser in that game. And that's what this looks like at least to me. Even more than the Valley of Bowser, because that was just completely pitch black. And there was the ghost houses, of course. Those are pretty much the staple to Mario World that gets reused all the time. I mean, it's just a Mario staple at this point. There's Choco Island. And then there's Vanilla. For some reason, Vanilla Dome. There's a Vanilla Lake. I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically World 3 of Super Mario World. But that area is more of a cave. Hey, but I mean, I would have liked stuff like the Forest of Illusion. That could have been cool. And maybe something from a Yoshi's Island inspired track, I think would have been nice. Nice, we want to go with the whole Mario World theme. Theme that we clearly have, but not everyone can be winners, and besides, it's the first game, so I don't expect anything really that crazy. Yeah, I expect these to get blown out of the water. Yeah, we pretty much win this no matter what. So there's really not gonna be much to talk about. So look at this, we have this again. Doesn't this look familiar? I guess you could say this track kinda looks like it could take place on Yoshi's Island. It kinda does. The background looks the same. Almost the same as the background in Mario World, but I have no idea. Yeah. I will say when looking at this game, it does make it feel super crazy how this was made. This was made in 1992. Ooh, and then Mario Kart 8 is made in 2014, and just the difference it has, because geez, it feels so different looking at playing that game compared to this. Because I mean, like I said, this game has its own charms. I admit, it's not like I think this is absolutely bad. And unlike some other games I could probably say that I say didn't age well, and I don't think I could have fun. I rarely get any enjoyment playing those. This one I actually think I can, but only in small bursts. And only in small bursts. I can see why a lot of people would probably list this game as their least favorite Mario Kart. Or, as in it's good, but not great. Great, and if someone had to ask me like, hey, I want to get into Mario Kart, what would you say I should play this game first? I'd probably tell you no unless you're planning to play all of them, and even then, I'd recommend probably playing another game before going to this one. I definitely say that. That especially in some things like drifting, because drifting can feel very awkward, or it is very different to how it was in Mario Kart 64, though, which I haven't played Mario Kart 64, at least not that much of it. But it felt a little bit more refined in that game than this. Because drifting does not feel good in this game. It does not. Not good. I've tried drifting and ooh, it feels awkward. It really feels awkward. And also the AI cheats. It cheats. Ace, but it's not that bad here. When the AI is pretty much a complete joke. Yeah, I think I might just do probably like the flower cup up. Nah, I could just do the star cup. I mean, this is just this is just the very basic, let's just get this out of the way now kind of stuff. No, but I won't have to deal with it again, and I won't have to deal with it again because it's more awkward having 11 cups. Well, it's more awkward having 11 cups, and one of these might have to be a 3-part, and I don't just want to have one video where it's just one cup. But that just feels a little too bland, especially for this game. Even that really doesn't feel good. But just having one cup up for a video, especially if it's one of these cups, yeah, not a good aftertaste. So I kind of want to just get these out. Kind of want to just do these all in one video. We also have Choco Island now. Oh. I'll be honest, a lot of these tracks tend to blur in my head. That even though they have like Choco Island 1, Choco Island 2, like there's really not a lot that helps them stand out. Especially since theme's the same, music is exactly the same. Oh yeah, guess what? We're gonna be running into another Bowser's Castle track. It doesn't say it, but we're gonna be running into another one, and it uses the exact same theme. Granted, it's a pretty good song. It's the final boss of Super Mario World, but it gets really sickening after a while. It gets really tiring after a while because that's at the end of every track. It's not like, oh, it's just one track. One track. No, it's used for almost every single Bowser's Castle track, and you usually race on a Bowser's Castle track at least once every single time. So, yeah, suffice to say, it gets old fast. For as good as it gets old very, very fast. As it's kind of like Sonic and the Secret Rings with, yeah, Seven Rings in Hand. I always forget the name of that song, but Seven Rings in Hand is a pretty good song. And I mean, it's a Sonic song, so of course it's gotta be good. But it gets overused way too much throughout that entire game of Sonic, which is Sonic and the Secret Rings. It gets overused way too much. You hear it pretty much all the time. And to the point where a lot of people are just sick of it. Then I've listened to the song afterwards, after sitting away from Secret Rings, and it's honestly a really good song. It is really, really good. But unfortunately, I can't really save Secret Rings as a game, but that's neither here or there. And again, guess it tends to just be the case when it comes to Sonic games, especially now when it comes to discussing them. It's either this one is incredibly amazing, or the other is absolutely terrible. It's never one of the. It's never one of the other. It's gotta be usually that I tend to find when it comes to discussions, and especially about that game. And then again, anyone I've usually talked to about that game says they really don't like it, or they've never played it before, or even got to the end. And so, there's people that really do like Secret Rings. I'm sure there are some definitely out there. I'm just not one of them. Maybe that might change when I play it again at some point, but as of right now, not really. I can't say I'm a fan. Personally. I don't think it's the worst game in the series. I can say that. I don't think it's the worst. Worst though. To be honest, the definition of worst Sonic game, I honestly feel like has gotten so muddled to the point where really calling anything the worst Sonic game now literally feels like that's just a band-aid for like what, 5, 10 years or heck less, like 2 or 3 years later, where someone's gonna say, hey, like, oh, this game is now the worst Sonic game ever made. Hey, cause I swear it feels like that happens a lot. No, like over 2 or 3 years, that just tends to, like the nomination for the worst Sonic game always seems to change. And it's because, like, at first I remember it was Sonic 06. I think that was considered the worst, and Sonic Forces. Everyone now is saying Sonic Forces is the worst Sonic game, and saying that the 06 really isn't that bad. It's just it was rushed. Gosh, heck, I don't even think people have been saying like Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric is the worst Sonic game now. Now that used to be the sentiment, especially when it came out, for a couple years. But that's just kind of been quieted now. Now more like people kind of forgot the game even existed, or that it really isn't that horribly bad. That it's more boring if anything, but it's not super terribly designed. Or completely broken in some respects. That's like, it's not like you can, like, there are glitches, sure, but they actually were able to patch at least some of them out. Okay, I'm really starting to hate these turns, especially with the dirt and the moles. I'm starting to really not like it. But yeah, that was the case. And then I remember Sonic Force. Then I remember Sonic Forces. Forces were now, especially like, I think, like, what, last year? I remember last year and kind of the beginning of this year, I remember people saying that was the worst Sonic game. Hey man, heck, I remember looking up something today and people saying, where someone was talking about Sonic Colors, and they were saying now Sonic Forces is better than Sonic Colors. I'm fine with changing opinions. I mean, humans change. That's just a general fact. But it feels like a lot of the time, opinions in the Sonic community tend to change almost as quickly as water rushing through a waterfall. Where once the water has flowed, the waters have changed and change exactly what people are thinking, and it gets kind of annoying after a while. Because again, opinions change, but it feels like they change almost all the time, or just every couple years, it feels like there's a different answer that people have, or a majority of people have. I definitely shouldn't say everyone. That's for sure. No, but that's especially what it feels like. I think at times. And then again, I haven't really interacted with the Sonic community that much in the first place. I mean, I don't really talk a lot about my interest in games when it comes to anyone outside. I remember it was once, I think it was in, yeah, I think it was in no, it was elementary school, I think, where it was a friend of mine where where I told him I was still playing Mario games, and because I was a super huge Mario kid at the time, when I was really young, I was super huge on Mario, and I was told that why are you still playing why are you still playing kids games? And you know the typical you're starting to get older like Mario's just a baby game, shouldn't you be into something else? That was that kind of nonsense. And then there was Pokemon. Maybe this is probably better to talk about in Pokemon when I'm playing through Pokemon Sword and Shield, because I'm currently playing that game and it happened with that game. But I remember the release window for Pokemon Sword and Shield being absolutely awful, awful. Like on both sides, not even just like one side was terrible, both of them were positive and negative. It was just awful to be a Pokemon fan at that time. Because opinions were basically flying everywhere. Were about Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I mean, I should probably save more of my own opinions on Sword and Shield for Sword and Shield. But I could definitely say that's one part of Sword and Shield that's definitely gonna be with me probably for the rest of my life, and kind of a reason why I don't really talk about Pokemon that much. As much as I love Pokemon, I don't really talk about it that much with really anyone. One, because it always brings up that discussion of, oh my god, Pokemon's so bad now. Or that if you're still like Pokemon, the people who support this stuff in Nintendo are pretty much cash cows who only like the game because it's made by partly made by Nintendo, part of Nintendo. And don't think that's why people still support these games now, or why people defend them. Just for that. And I mean, I can't deny the validity of that kind of stuff. That's fair. And I do agree that I think some people do it, may do it just for that, maybe. But kind of makes me think of what I'm doing. So why do I like playing these games? I mean, is it really just because it has the Nintendo seal of approval? So of course I'll buy it. Or is it because I genuinely still love Pokemon? Because I played through a lot of Pokemon games now in the past and now. And I've genuinely enjoyed all of them, even my least favorite being the original Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Probably being the one mainline Pokemon game I really dislike playing and would definitely say I would not recommend playing. I've had a good time with. I can usually find something positive to say about most Pokemon games. And I haven't really come across one on spin-off or otherwise that I really can say, yeah, I just outright dislike this game. Then I can at least acknowledge some positives. Is from each one that I've played. Hey, and I've never really had a favorite generation or favorite Pokemon game. And because I've genuinely enjoyed all of them. I've genuinely enjoyed all of them almost every single time. I usually have a very good time, unless it's a challenge where, yeah, of course I'm not having as much fun because I'm trying to challenge myself. In some cases, those challenges can be super painful. If you don't know what those are, though, that's basically not blocking or using specific only one type throughout the whole game. In which, that can be annoying and really challenging in its own right. I don't know how people do it constantly, but I get frustrated. I admit I get kind of frustrated after a while. It gets a little annoying every single time when you run into a trainer where you just can't beat them because you don't have those correct set of Pokemon. So you just have to keep trying over and over and over again until you win. And just hoping for the best. Yeah, that gets old fast. That gets really annoying fast. But I still usually have a good time. I can usually recall some good memories I have. Most of the time. Well, most of the time. Maybe not all the time, but I can definitely say I've had good memories most of the time. I could actually mention something I remember hearing about with this game. So, apparently, the victory animation for Bowser was actually different in the Japanese version. You saw the champagne bottle that Bowser was holding. Apparently, in the Japanese version, he actually is drinking the champagne. And same with Princess Peach as well. They both drink the champagne in their animations. And in the West, well, here in the States, yeah, you saw there was a different animation for Bowser. He's not drinking it at all. I don't know a lot about what champagne actually is. All I know is that I just assume it's pretty much the drink that, that's usually pretty much associated with... Okay. Alright, that was something. But it's associated with racing where, people usually get a drink. I'm gonna assume it's probably like partly an alcoholic beverage. Where I guess like soda. I guess maybe like soda in a way, where like carbonated soda, or colored water, or that tastes like a specific fruit, whatever you want it to be. Maybe lemon, maybe? I don't know. No, I don't know much about champagne. Not that I've ever drunken champagne in the first place. I'm gonna assume it's probably like somewhat an alcoholic beverage. I'm gonna assume that is. I don't know. Maybe I could probably do it next time I play this. I could probably mention just in case if it is, or just put a blurb right now saying if that's actually true or not. No, but anyway, he's back to the Pokemon discussion. So, I've usually very positive things to say about most Pokemon games. I rarely have anything negative, say more than half the time. And when people usually say that kind of stuff, like, oh, you're only doing this because it's from Daddy Nintendo. Oh, that's the only reason you buy these games is just because, oh, you like Nintendo. That's the only reason. Reasoning. I mean, I still like Nintendo. I know they're pretty much gonna, pretty much scrutiny now, and I think pretty much now, if you're a corporation, you're just gonna get scrutiny straight up just for being a corporation nowadays. But I still like Nintendo, and I like most of the games they produce. I mostly had a good experience, but am I really just doing it just for that? Is it genuinely because I like the series, or is it just because it's Pokemon? Come on, it's really made me think about that. And to be honest, I kind of have no idea whether it's either. Is that really a good thing to say? Because I honestly don't know if it's either. I honestly might not be surprised if it may be just a mix of both. Well, but I've just been hearing that mantra a lot of the time where, oh, people are only supporting Nintendo because oh, it's a Nintendo game, so that's why people buy it. Because even though they know it's a baby game. I don't know, it's just something I always thought about. And I've never really been able to give a concrete answer or really say what I really think about that, or whatever we think about that kind of mindset. But another thing I was mentioning with pretty much if you're a corporation, you're pretty much gonna get hated no matter what. Yeah, it kind of feels like that nowadays. Kind of feels like that. Which, I mean, I get the corporations do some pretty messed up stuff. Like, I'm not immune to that. That, not at all. But I feel like some of it also partly is just, again, because some companies are corporations. In the fact that, well, now that there's so many ways to make games, because gaming is pretty much, gone from being just a simple pastime that some people did in arcade machines as well. No, you could also say to pretty much almost something as popular as mainstream popular as television. Notion probably even more popular, and that it's something that now a lot more people can do, because you can see a lot of independent creators, I mean, especially in the past couple of years. There've been a ton of them. And I don't want to make it sound like I think, oh, because they're independent creators and they're not part of a corporation, that people might treat it differently. But sometimes it really does feel like it's a little bit different. And because of the corporation, it's literally just an entire entity. It's not like you can see those people, hundreds of potential people. Well, with some of these, it's like there's a couple people who probably put blood, sweat, and tears into the game that you can actually see. Sometimes can be felt too. Especially. Heck, I wanted to do stuff like that too. I think that's pretty much kind of become the dream job for a lot of people. And now people can really do it if they really set their minds to it. And there's even classes for this kind of stuff now. Now in colleges, pretty much market it as like, oh hey, if you want to get into gaming and you want to go, make your own games, yeah, come to our college. Which, I mean, that's cool now. Always something I wondered, where the fact that gaming has become so mainstream now, and before where some people might be mocked for, oh, are you serious? Oh, that's dumb. Okay, so if you don't have enough coins, you'll just spin out every single time you bump into someone. Okay, well, that's stupid. Anyway, here's what I was saying. And now it's just game. Before you'd get made fun, you might get made fun of for making games or being pretty much a nerd or geek. Now it's almost something that just every kid apparently does. Those are like every person knows about video games at this point. Or like even people who don't know anything about video games know some stuff that goes on, or they just know about these games at all, even if they don't play games. And that's a great thing. I think that's great. But at the same time, it also makes things, at least for me, makes it even harder to discern, or brings up this kind of divide that I've kind of felt when it comes to gaming. Naming is where, does anyone really care about actually making games at all? Like a genuine question, does anyone actually care? Or are they really just doing it again just because they can make money? And sure, we could say that about indie developers. There's that. Oh, they're probably the only earnest, hardworking people out there that actually want to make games. Fair enough, I guess. Even if I disagree with that notion, but what's to say also that, yeah, some people who develop indie games also want that as well. So, not saying that that's the case. I don't know these people. Same with the corporation. I don't know anyone personally, so I can't just say that. Or just say, oh yeah, that's totally the truth. But who's to say that isn't true? In some instances where some people who make games just are only doing it just so they can make money. Because there have been so many cases like that where many people say that nowadays, especially with corporations now, with some of their favorite series where, again, Where now it's more, people care more about the game series, less about the corporation, because now people say, you know, Nintendo's, you know, I love Nintendo's games, but they suck as a company. Company, or Microsoft, or Sony, or pretty much any big corporation that makes games. And it almost is the sentiment now that I feel like of love and hate, where they love these game series, but they absolutely hate the people who make them. So that's what I feel like the gaming scene kind of is kind of become in some ways. That might not be true, and then it's just how I've interacted with people when it comes to me interacting with some people is when it comes to gaming and what I've seen. I mean, but that's what it feels like to me. I mean, that's especially what it feels like in some instances. And it almost feels like now where, you know, that's also where video games is a kind of an art form for a lot of people. But what's to say that, oh yeah, this art is also being used to make money as well. It can be used to make a lot of money as well. Well, and where do you draw that line? Should games only be made for money? Well, should be made for money since they make so much money. They have the potential to make so much money and they've helped so many people. Or should they just be, you know, what people would mostly want, you know, people doing it out of love, just love and doing it for free almost. Which it'd be nice, but video games are not well, at least the AAA budget games that we have now aren't cheap to make. They aren't just something you could just make in your own house and call it a day. They take time, money, and a lot of manpower to even make some of these games. And so is it wrong for them to get paid for having to work for potentially years and this being the job they have? Something I honestly don't know what the right answer would be, because I honestly don't think there is a right answer. Since one, art is so subjective, and it feels like a contradiction in the fact that it's something that's supposed to be from the heart. It's supposed to be something that's passionate, and yet you can also use it to make money as well. Well, and support yourself. No, always just been something I've kind of thought about. No, honestly, I really don't know what the correct answer would be for that. Yeah, pretty much we finished 50cc. I'm thankfully glad this is over. Jeez, this took a while. Yeah, there's just Donkey Kong's animation. Oh, I'm sorry. DK Jr. Yeah, this is before Donkey Kong was officially just called DK. Hey, but I guess you could say this is the Donkey Kong we know. Oh, that we see in the modern day, just he's still young. I guess you could say. Yeah, I could just go on for a little longer. I mean, I could segment this stuff. Again, it's not like it's gonna be that big a deal for you guys. I'm just gonna segment this and just put it somewhere and just put it for next week. Because the only thing is that, well, I'm just gonna be kind of continuing my conversation, because again, there's not really much I can really say about this game. And you kind of know how it is, and yeah, there's a special cup now. Yeah, that's why I did all three in just one video. Just cost effective, if I'm being honest.